Arizona and Colorado are my favorite states. I would live here if I could, but my idiot friends keep me in New York. Thanks so much for coming out. Has anybody read the first book, Awakened? A couple people? Did you like it?
Yeah.
Oh, you have comments. Great. Has anyone read the BRINK yet? The second one. You did?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
I had nightmares.
You had nightmares? I'm so sorry. Did you like it better than Awakened? I think it's better. It's better? It better be. I thought it'd be kind of fun if I tell you guys kind of how this all happened. Awakened in the BRINK, and then kind of what my plans are, and then I want to open up to Q&A for you guys, so you can ask anything you want to know. I'm an open book. It's strange that you've all seen me naked on TV already. And then I thought I'd kind of read a chapter from the book, if that's cool with you. Okay. So I wrote the first book, Awakened. Everybody can hear me, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. I wrote the first book, Awakened, 15 years ago. I spent a year of my life, this is long before Jokers, I spent a year of my life writing this thriller. I was living in Brooklyn at the time, and I used to take the subway home late at night every night from work, and it was like this great kind of environment for claustrophobia and fear, and I said, this is a great thriller, and I wrote a chapter, I wrote a short story, which is still in the book. It's untouched from its original form. The chapter, if you read Awakened, where you hear the little girl's voice, and she's like, help me, you know? It's a monster secretly. And I wrote that, and I sent it to my friend, and he called me up like 20 minutes later and says, this is a book. You should write a book around this chapter. So I literally wrote the book around that chapter and figured out how it happened, what happened, and where it went. I having no clue what the characters were, what the plot was, anything like that. I spent a year of my life writing it every day.
Like a boss.
Like a boss. I didn't feel like a boss though, because at the end of the year, you were just waiting to say that. He's like, honey, I'm going to wait for the right moment to say it. If you don't say it 2 more times, I'll make this comedically. So you find the right spot. So at the end of the year, I thought it'd be a simple. Now, keep in mind, the guys and I are regular guys. We were on TV. We didn't know somebody in the business. I didn't know anybody. I didn't know any agents. I didn't have a manager. I didn't know anybody that worked in TV. I didn't know anybody who worked for publishing companies. So at the end of the year, I sent it out naively to every publishing company in New York City, and they returned it to me, the whole manuscript unopened. They wouldn't open the damn envelope. For a year of my life just sat there for doing nothing. I was like, man, I can't believe it. It was like that's kind of the story of the guys and I. Like we tried to get on TV for like 12 years before we did. And 4 weeks before we sold Impractical Jokers, 4 weeks before, I went to my agent's office. I said, here's the tape, we're going to go and pitch it. For a long time, I've worked in TV development. And so my job was literally to create and sell pitch TV shows. And I said, here's the idea, so my friends and I had it. And he said, it's very funny, but you guys are too old for TV. I was like, really? You can suck it. 4 weeks later, we sold Jokers, and now we just hit 200 episodes, and we're making more seasons to come. So the book is the same story. It sat on my computer for 14 years. 14 years later, I said, you know what? I should send that book out again. It was really good. I worked really hard at making this like fast-paced, action-packed thriller, like a summer beach reading kind of thriller. So I sent the same book, not a single word changed, out to publishers, and HarperCollins immediately bought the trilogy, and Awakened, the first one, went on to hit number 1 in the international bestseller list. So, and then the BRINK just hit the bestseller list as well. Is that better? Yeah, it seems.
Is that better?
Is it better? I don't know. My voice is a little sore. I apologize because last night I went to. This is dating myself. I saw a concert in New York. I think it's worse though. I saw a concert in New York featuring TLC, Flo Rida, and Nelly. So I'm like, Nelly! I'm screaming. So my voice is gone. It'll be back by tomorrow. So the lesson there, I guess, is that. If you have something you love, if you love writing, if you love acting, if you love whatever you love in life, don't give up on doing it ever, because don't let other people limit or define your success for you. That's crazy, you know? If you believe in something, get good at it, get great at it, and keep going. And that's a lesson that Jokers taught the guys and I. Jokers was our 3rd TV show, the first one to go to series. We literally were about to give up. If Jokers didn't sell, that was it, you know? Because we all had regular jobs. Q was a fireman. Sal owned a bar. Joe was a salesman at a baby store company. he was pushing baby strollers, and then I was I worked in TV development. So we all kind of like had formed careers. but we were not formed guys by any stretch. And so I guess the lesson there is don't ever give up. And this has become a passion project. It started as a passion project and it's become a success. And I think you'll love it if you haven't read it yet. If you haven't read Awakened, read the first one first. And it's as action-packed. This one is different. So the first book, Awakened, is about the mayor of New York City, Tom Cafferty, and he's like obsessed with building this new train station, train underneath New York. And what he doesn't know is that underneath New York City is this kind of like subterranean creatures that have a nest. They breathe methane, they're smarter than us, they're pretty terrifying kind of creatures. And the inaugural run of the train, on the train itself is the mayor's wife, 100 lucky New Yorkers. When the train rolls into the underwater pavilion, all the passengers, including his wife, are gone. The windows are shattered outward and there's blood everywhere. And he has to hunt down what's going on. But what he doesn't realize is that these events are actually orchestrated by the mastermind, this kind of like evil villainous character that you really meet in book 2, Albert Van Ness. He's been orchestrating these kind of creature attacks and his kind of twisted plot he has against humanity, or for humanity. And the first book is very much Escape from New York. It's all action. It happens in real time, like a real emergency. It is relentless pace. The second book, The BRINK, takes place over like a day and a half, and it's them trying to hunt down Albert Van Ness and stop him from his next iteration of his plans. This book is much less a creature book. It's more like a character study. So it's good versus bad. It's good versus evil. But Van Ness and Cafferty are flip sides of the same coin. They are both equally obsessed, but obsession without a moral compass is where Van Ness is. Obsession still hanging on to his moral compass is where the mayor of New York City is. So this book is very much about villains and heroes, and less creatures in it. But book 3, which I was just writing on the plane right now, it's great, it's so good. Book 3 is very much about creatures again. So the chapter I'm going to read you is the first chapter of this book. It's a little bit of an homage to Impractical Jokers, if you haven't read it yet. And so you'll laugh at some of the references. But the rest of the book is really not like this first chapter. But you guys want to hear it? Yeah. Okay. Just stand right here. Okay. Just get a sip of water. Hi guys. Who's coming to the early show? Late show? Who's never seen us live before? Get your act together, man! What's the matter with you? Okay. Okay, ready? Here we go. For the little ones out there, monsters are not real. There's nothing underneath your bed. Don't worry, it's fiction. Mark, sit down. I'm so sorry. I don't want anybody to have nightmares tonight like that. Mark, sit down 2 wine glasses on his kitchen counter. So far, the 4th date happened perfectly. After 3 months of living in London, he finally found a British girl who liked his Boston accent. He liked hers too. He'd taken Imogene out for a lovely dinner. They laughed at each other's jokes, 2 20-somethings, having a good time. They walked back to the warmth of his basement apartment on Westbourne Park Road and watched Netflix. He wanted to watch a scary movie like The Descent or John Carpenter's The Thing. Nothing like a good horror flick to make the heart race faster and help break the touch barrier. But she insisted they watch a popular hidden camera show starring these 4 guys from New York. As an aspiring stand-up comedian, he had to admit the show was funny. It was getting late, almost midnight. He guessed she was sitting over for the first time, but so far it had gone unsaid. Mark uncorked a second bottle of Chianti, letting out the rich aroma, and poured 2 generous measures. He wanted to impress her. She worked for an investment bank in Canary Wharf, and despite her protestations, he could tell she had class. Oiled money with a type of cut glass English accent, reserved for those in high society. He wanted things to be perfect. Unfortunately, a faint sulfurous odor knocked away the scent of the wine, as if somebody had struck a match or something was burning. Mark frowned as he visually inspected the kitchen's electrical boards and appliances. Everything appeared fine. He'd taken the garbage out too, so it wasn't that either. Perhaps he considered the source was of a romantic nature, Imogene making the next move. He craned his head from the kitchen alcove to see if she'd lit a candle. The TV screen bathed the dark room in a monochrome glow. In this light, Imogene looked even more like Charlize Theron, lounging on the leather couch in her purple dress. She looked stunning. But no lit candles. You smell that? He asked. Smell what? I don't know, burning? She shrugged. It always stinks of you in here. Mark smiled at her joke. He inhaled through his nostrils, trying to track the smell. He could still detect it, only slightly, but it was there, in the air. Maybe Imogene was being polite by denying its existence. He'd gotten a great rate on his basement apartment, especially given how old the building was, but he was now beginning to regret it. Technically, his studio apartment was actually in the converted sub-basement below the basement itself. There was no way it could be legal, but it was so very cheap. The lack of natural light was tough to deal with at times, but at moments like this, he wanted the place as dark and cozy as possible. The new episode began playing on the TV. Among 4 lifelong friends who compete to embarrass each other. Naka balls. Do you want to watch another one? He asked. Imogene rose from the couch. Her hand caressed his. No, let's go to bed. His heart raced faster. He grabbed the TV remote control and switched it off. The room transformed to near darkness as she led him to the bed. The lamp on the bedside table provided soft lighting. The comforter was folded in half on the lower end of the bed. Crisp white sheets and pillows covered the rest. He'd arranged it immaculately in the hope of this very moment. Mark spun to face her. She'd slipped off her dress, was wearing a fancy black lingerie. His heart skipped a beat. He moved toward her and reached out his hand to caress her face. Erika's nothing. The strange smell forgotten, he focused on the alluring, subtle floral scent of Imogene's perfume, which had driven him crazy all night. He leaned in, closed his eyes, leaned in to kiss her. Her soft lips made contact with his for the first time. The moment felt electric, exhilarating. They fell back onto the bed, intertwined in each other's arms. He drew the comforter up over them. Then, the sound from the TV blurted in the room. Among 4 lifelong friends who compete to embarrass each other. They froze, peering into each other's eyes and giggled. Sorry, he said. He reached out and fumbled with the remote on the nightstand, hitting what he thought felt like the power button. The sound stopped. The silence returned to the room. He dove back onto the cover. Among 4 lifelong friends who compete to embarrass each other. The TV was even louder this time, making them both jump in fright. For God's sakes, he said, confused. I'm sorry. It's okay. It is my favorite TV show. He grabbed the remote and sat up to face the TV. This time, he'd do it right. What the hell? He asked. She sat up to look. The room remained in near darkness. Nothing played on the TV screen. The two lay there in silence for a moment, baffled by the experience. Among 4 lifelong friends who compete to embarrass each other. The words again, even louder. The identical lines the previous 2 times, like it had been repeated over and over again on loop. But that was impossible because the TV was off. Unless the damn thing had broken, and that was the last thing he needed on a tight budget. He tracked the sound downward. It wasn't coming from the TV. In fact, the sound had come from underneath the bed. Somebody had to be playing a cool trick on him. Nothing else made sense. Whoever it was, their timing was awful. He peered over the side of the bed to investigate. It was too dark, though, and he couldn't see anything. He could smell sulfur again, though stronger this time, and he was now firmly convinced one of his friends had somehow sabotaged his date. Furious, he leaned over to grab his cell to light underneath the bed, when he heard, behind him, the sounds of ripping fabric and an odd gurgle. He spun back to face Imogene. A serrated black spike erupted out of her stomach. She let out an ear-splitting scream. She wrapped her hands around it, and the sight of the wriggling appendage made it seem as if she were controlling the very thing that had burst through her own torso. Blood soaked into the white sheets, and she stared at him with terror, fear, confusion, agony in her eyes. Mark scrambled off the mattress, wide-eyed, consumed with her terror, which was mirrored on his own face. Something clasped around his ankle. He looked down. Before he could move or think, scaly black hands with razor-sharp claws squeezed harder. He gasped at the feeling of his shin being crushed. He tried to kick free, but the tightness of the grip only increased. The claw sliced into his ankle. He screamed in agony as he collapsed face first onto the blood-stained bed. The black spike thrust through between the bed, between the injured couple, like a flexible spear. It carved through the mattress, splitting it in 2. Imogene tried to gasp, but there was so little life left in her that she didn't have the energy or the air in her lungs to scream. Her odd silence unnerved Mark. Her head rolled to the side. She stared at Mark through dead eyes. No! He yelled. As if in response, a massive creature exploded out of the center of the bed, black and muscular. The scant light from the lamp seemed to be absorbed by its obsidian skin. Its tail wafted from side to side. It punched Imogene's corpse to one side with tremendous force. Mark attempted to struggle back, but the creature's foot pressed him downward, forcing the air from his lungs. His torso crushed against the remote, hitting the power button. Light blasted out from the TV set. The creature towered over him, thick strings of saliva dangling from 3 rows of dagger-like teeth. The overwhelming smell of sulfur burned Mark's nostrils now. The creature reached down and lifted him by his jaw. Claws plunged into his neck, his vision fogged. He attempted a bubbling breath. The creature twisted his head violently to the side. The last thing he saw was the outline of the vicious creature silhouetted by the bright white light of the TV as all the life quickly drained from his body. It's not real. You see, no, it's not real. There's nothing under your bed. Well, I feel like a jerky, but there's something under your bed. I'm sorry. So book 2 is that's the only chapter kind of like that. Book 2 is much more about Cafferty going after the villain, who's equally twisted. There's some crazy stuff in the book, but I wrote it because I wanted it to capture the energy of a real kind of emergency and this kind of panic you feel inside, you know. And the story is very much about obsession, and the story is a lot of people ask me, are the guys in the book? They are. In the first book, Sal and Q play the characters of the train operators, if you read it. Sal and Mike Kirsch, and then Joe was in the first book, but I rewrote his character, so now he's a Hispanic man from Brooklyn. And this is your time. I want you guys to ask anything you want, and I'll answer it. So yes, right here. Go.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
One, do you consider yourself a horror guy in general, and what advice do you have for writers of any genre or medium?
Oh, cool. Do I consider myself a horror? I love horror. I love, comedy and horror are the same things. One could argue, people are like, Murr, how are you writing horror? One could argue that what they do to me on Jokers is horror. I mean, I've got my nipples pierced, I got thrown out of the airplane against my will. This is terrifying stuff. I always loved it. I love action horror thrillers, you know. So these books, there's a lot of homages to a lot of my favorite movies. That chapter is directly Nightmare on Elm Street, when Freddy Krueger bursts through the bed and kills Johnny Depp in the first movie, same way. In the first book, there's everything from Die Hard to Aliens to The Descent, which is one of my favorite movies. But I love the category, so I always wanted to write like thrillers, you know. And advice you said, you know, gosh, I thought I did the right way, and it is a solid way to do it. Years ago, I wrote the book and then sent out a really great query letter. Which had a great hook and it was catchy, and it still didn't work because so much of this industry in this world is stacked against you. These barriers of entry. The barriers of entry are BS. You know, they're these gatekeepers that often haven't succeeded in their own industry. You know, and they become gatekeepers. And the barriers are very much in your mind. A lot of it is networking and getting to meet publishers directly, and you can then pitch them directly. Finish your book if you're a writer, write it. That's important. Get better at it. Don't be too connected to your work that you can't scrap an idea and move on with something else. And then network, you know. And I will be happy to read your manuscript when you finish it and connect you if it's good. So there you go. Because I think there's barriers of entry with BS. Yes.
Are you Tom Cafferty?
Am I Tom Cafferty, the mayor? Yes. You know, there's a joke in Jokers. That Sal and I are always at odds, right? Yeah. Oh, he's my best friend. He's my best friend. I would die for him. That being said, I hate him. The reason is we have very different personalities. He's wonderfully and hysterically in his head, neurotic, and you know what I mean. I'm the opposite. His neuroses is countered equally by my overconfidence. My overconfidence always in the fact that the guys and I had something special. That there's something unique about our friendship and our chemistry, and this kind of unflailing belief in what we do. And so when I wrote Cafferty, yes, I did model him. I get fixated with things, you know, for good and for bad. And it's led to a lot of great things in our lives. Like, I was just, the more people told me I couldn't make it on TV, the more obsessed I became with making it on TV. you know? So much to the point that I got a job in TV development and then pitched a TV show with the guys that I am. And when our agent told us 4 weeks before I pitched it that it would be too old for TV, that drives me crazy. You know, I don't ever want to be told, why can't I do everything? Why can't we do everything in life? You know? So it didn't make sense to me. I literally had a switch goes off in my brain and I don't understand it. And I get fixated and obsessed with something. And I've been obsessed with creating a TV show with the guys for a long, long time, for 20 years. And I didn't stop until it got. And the book's the same thing. So yes, Cafferty is written with the same obsessive quality. And the bad thing is that quality is that, you know, Sal and I are a great example. We don't necessarily see the world the same way. I barrel forward and don't see why I for anything. He doesn't, and that causes a spiritual conflict between us, you know, if you will. But yeah, I wrote the character after me, and Vanessa's the bad side of it. He's equally obsessed in a bad way because he has no moral compass. As I get older, I learn to relax a little bit more, but it's caused some fights over the years. But yeah, next question. Yes.
Now, how did you and Darren co-write the book? Do you take turns writing chapters? Do you focus on a certain character?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when I wrote a Wicked on my own, you know, a long time ago, and when HarperCollins bought it, they said, well, great, we want you to spend about a month polishing it up. Our schedule does not allow for me to take a month off, ever. You know what I mean? We work 30, 40 days in a row, often, you know, and we with no break. We film year-round, and we tour year-round, and a million other things. You know, we have a new show starting in October called The Misery Index on TBS. I just can't take a month down to focus on polishing a book. So I said to them, I was like, well, what do I do? Because it's going to take me 6 months to polish it, because I have to do it at my pace. And they said, well, why don't you hire like a writer to help you out, to help polish it up? So I interviewed a bunch of people, and I met Darren, who's my co-writer on the book, and I loved him immediately. He's a huge Jokers fan from the UK, lovely guy, and him and I like a lot of the same things, a lot of the same movies, and we clicked immediately. So I hired him to help polish the first book up, and then so that was already an existing manuscript. It was very easy. We were just kind of rewriting sections and things like that. The second book we very much co-wrote. And the way we worked was really seamless. I mean, he moved in basically to my apartment in New York, and we would either I'd write a chapter. Well, I came up with a plot for book 2 and 3. I kind of always knew where it would go, and wrote a detailed, like 12, 15-page outline of everything from every chapter, things like that. And then he'll take a chapter and he'll write, and then I'll send it to me and I'll rewrite, or I'll take a chapter and write and he'll polish it up. And we go back and forth like that. So today's a perfect example. Right before I got on the plane, he sent me a new chapter that he wrote, and on the plane I rewrote it and send it back to him once I get on the internet, and that's it. You know, it goes like that. And it's book 2 took us maybe 2.5 months to write. Book 3, I gave myself 5 weeks to write it. Yeah, at the end of it, September 4th, so. But it's coming along. It's coming along great. I already know how, you know, we know the characters so well by now. So we're going to go like that. It's been pretty seamless. He's a great guy to work with. We work off each other really well. And we've sold another 2 books as well. So I'll have 5 books coming out in the next 18 months. I'm so going to get right. Yes, you have a question.
Do you still have those weird driver's license?
Do I still have a weird driver's license? You mean the episode where they shaved all my eyeballs? And I had to go to the DMV and get a new driver's license? And which is still my license for 10 years? You tell me, is it still my license? What do you think? You know, yes, I have no eyebrows, my stupid driver's license. It's so... You see this? This is what my idiot friends do to me. This is it. You see this? I look like a potato. See this? It's ridiculous. This my passport still has cute, disgusting hair right there.
Maybe not the license, but like the shaved head.
Yeah, it's a 10-year
Okay.
punishment.
That would be
I can't renew my license until 2024.
Or Eric put it in his book that he wants to write or something about all my exploits.
Do I still have my tattoo? You tell me.
I'm scared to know. Oh, it's on his side.
Very happy.
Yeah, I was like, I can't.
So stupid. It's better than James Smith on my mic, I'll tell you that.
Do you guys really have to stick to the whatever they give you for your punishment? You do it.
Yeah.
There's no like. Is it off limits? Is it?
Well,
they know your boundaries and they won't go there, or?
Well, yeah, I mean, we've been best friends for 30 years, you know what I mean? So we know each other's limits. The closest we came to scrapping a punishment was skydiving. Because what's not on TV is I ran off set and locked myself in the bathroom for a half-hour crying and started I wouldn't come out. And then ultimately I was like, I knew that it would be funny if I did it. I didn't know I was going to scream that high pitch. And so I did it for the joke, but I was terrified. That was right on the edge of excitement. And then the eyebrows one, Q had a moment where he panicked. Before we did it, he stopped set and said, he put the guys aside, and I heard him saying it. He goes, I don't think we can do this. Because not everything goes back right anymore, you know what I mean? Like, we didn't know if my eyebrows would grow back. It took 3 months to grow back. It was weird, man. Like a month and a half in, when there's just wisps of hair was starting to go through, it was even weirder. So, but no, mostly we know each other's boundaries and how far we can push, and we stay right under that line. Yes?
How hard is it for y'all to film the shows without people knowing who you are?
It's become more difficult for sure. You know, I mean, season 8's on TV. We're starting to shoot season 9 end of the year, and the Joker's movie comes out soon too. We filmed a movie, and it's gotten harder. But there are all sorts of little tricks. So we've changed the nature of the show. If you watch the show like from season 1 or 2, we're on boardwalks, we're in baseball stadiums. We do that very little anymore because we get killed and recognized, you know. But we have little tricks to keep the show pure. The show has to be real. If it's not real, it doesn't work. You know, that's the whole hook of it. So we have little tricks. Like, let's say the 4 of you are coming into a focus group room, right? You're being paid to show up for a focus group. You're going to pay $50 for your time. You think you're going to go evaluate some product, right? We only bring you down the hall to go to the room one at a time. You have no idea that Sal's in the room ready and there's hidden cameras in the room. I'm in the hallway just pretending to be on my phone. And as you each walk down the hall, if you recognize me, you never get in the room. You get pulled away before you go into the room. And if you don't recognize me, you go through. So literally, as a producer standing to my right, and as you walk by me and I make eye contact with you, I give them a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And little tricks like that keep the show pure. That way we make sure that all 6 people in the room with Sal have no idea who he is.
I'd fake it.
What's that?
Like,
nobody can fake it. There's no way. This is what happens. Someone tries to fake I'm going to fake him and get on TV. It doesn't work, right? Because we were watching you 10 minutes before you realize you're on TV, right? The cameras, right? And when people see us, they're like, you can't act normal. You try to act normal, you can't act normal. You know, it's spotted a mile away. Yeah.
2 things. Did you just get engaged?
No. I did not yet, but I did not. But if you don't mind, you guys want to help me out with something?
yeah.
But you have to. Is this being broadcast on Facebook Live?
It is.
Yes.
Yep.
Can we pause it for a moment?
I swear, my wife told me this, and
Is any chapter where the 3 people are hiking outside of? Well, it's in the BRINK. Have you heard of the BRINK yet? It's in the BRINK. There's 3 hikers hiking near Mount Rushmore. Those are the 3 winners. I might do it again for the 3rd book. You know? Yeah, we have all sorts of cool marketing things. My degree is in English and writing with and marketing as well. So yeah.
What's your favorite punishment you get?
The favorite punishment? Oh gosh. Yeah, it's certainly not Winnie Cooper, Danica McCallum. That was the most embarrassing moment of my life. I think my favorite punishment is Joe's the Genie, where he knocks the whole set down. The shot of him hanging there with his big blue gut, it's just so funny, man. His face, you know the challenge we do where all 4 of us in the room trying to make each other laugh at the same time? All Joe has to do is look at you and you start laughing. He's got the big nose, the giant blue eyes, spiky hair. He looks like an Italian toucan. It's just terrible. Okay, yes, next question. Yeah.
So, with your guys' show, have you ever considered showing like reactions afterwards, kind of like the kind of camera used to do?
No, the actual construct of the show is what we hated about hidden camera shows. Here's how it happened, right? So years ago, I was pitching shows to different networks for the company I ran development for, and I got the wind that hidden camera was coming back. Like Justin Bieber had just done Punked back on CW and a couple other hidden camera shows. And so the guys that I met at Joe and I were roommates, living together because we couldn't afford to live alone. And the guys and I got together one night and we said, why don't we give it one more shot at TV? And I said, I feel like hidden camera's getting hot again. I feel like I can sell a hidden camera show. But what we all hated about a hidden camera show was that the people being pranked, you feel bad for them. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't sign up to do this. You feel bad that they're being made fools of. So the very hook of Jokers is we took that element away. A lot of what sells TV shows, you change one thing or this thing, you know, just twist it slightly and it suddenly becomes a new format, right? So we took that element away, where we're not embarrassing people at all. They're not the butt of the joke. We're the butt of the joke. It's an upside down hidden camera show where the joke is on us. So the reactions you're looking for, you get every episode. It's our reactions. We're the victims. You know what I mean? And on rare occasion, we will show the reveal to the person in the room, but we're never pranking people. We're trying to, they're witnessing our embarrassment. So it's a very construct of the show. So there will never be an episode where it's just all reactions, because it's not their reactions that matters, it's ours. Yeah. Yeah.
My daughter and I are coming to the show at 10,
Okay.
and she was going to see, but she had to go back to work.
Okay.
Can I record you telling her hi, please?
Yeah.
Please?
What's her name?
Samantha.
Okay, well, I will also say one thing. Oh.
Ready? Let me make sure I got it, so I'm not ridiculous.
Sam, it's Murr!
Wait, hold on.
Oh, God.
I told you I wasn't good at
Okay,
this.
ready?
Yes?
Sam! Hi. It's Murr! I love you. That's it. Yes.
Hey, Murr.
Yeah, right.
Hey,
Thank you.
First of all, we feel like you're a family member because you've been living in our house for like 8 years.
Speaking of which, can I borrow $50?
In the intro, there's a laugh at the end after the show, and he goes,
It's Joe.
Who is that?
Who is this?
We took that out. Do you notice that it's not no one
Who
episodes?
is it? Who is it?
Who is laughing?
No, it's none of
I
us.
thought it
It's
was
none of
Sal.
us. No, it's none of us. It's
wrong.
I think it's just a sound effect that the network insists we put in. I don't think it's anybody where it's like a sound effect some guy. You know, we hated it, and we finally, like about a season or two ago, took it out and replaced it with a funny sentence. You know, like a quote
All
from the
about that
episode.
Cotto.
What's that?
All about that Cotto.
Yeah, that's one of them, you know, which I love. I think those make me crack up laughing. Those little one-liners. No, that was our least favorite part of the show. Yeah. I don't know who it is.
That's the end of that feud.
Yeah, I know who it is. Sorry, you've been debating whose voice it was? It's none of ours. It's none of us. No. Yeah. Yes.
I thought you were amazing in the Dracula one.
The Dracula.
Yeah.
The spirit came over me, and I felt moved by the spirit. I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that punishment, and I'm very proud of what's the other one? I'm proud of the Novocaine punishment. That raised briefly brilliant. That was one of the 3 times that I was laughing so hard my knees. I don't know if you ever had the sensation of your knees buckling under you, like Sal has every day. Literally, I could not stand. My knees buckled and I fell to the ground. I had to duck behind the podium because my speech was getting worse and worse as I was going. So it was becoming funnier and funnier to me, you know? Oh gosh, anyway, good times. Yeah.
Have you gotten at all desensitized after doing the show for so long?
No.
Would things that used to impress you, like, is your threshold now higher? Are you
No, I don't think so. Because the good thing about getting on TV later in life, you know, we're all 43 now, right? The good thing is that we didn't get on TV till we were 34, 35 years old. So we were already formed guys, you know what I mean? We had our moral code, we had our you know, neuroses, we had our, my mother watches the show. I would never, you know, I just, in my mind when I'm out there in the field, and people always say, you know, oh, I can do what you do. I'm like, no, you can't. It's because you have the 3 guys in your ear crying, laughing, and just, you know, we're an improv group, you know, it's an improv show in disguise. So they're just building and snowballing on these ideas, and it becomes funnier and funnier and harder to do. So no, I don't think we're desensitized. I think we're better at the show. I think we know how to make the show better. Like now, we're on set for maybe 2 hours, 2.5 hours with the challenge for the day. You know, in season 1, we'd take 5-6 hours to film a challenge, you know, because we didn't even really know what the show was back then. But as we get better at doing it, we know, I did this, it's funny, it's great, I can move on. You know, we're more confident with it now. We're certainly not better at it. Yes.
So can you tell us anything about the additional 2 books that you just got signed on right after the Awakened trilogy?
Is that recording still?
It is. Do you want me to stop?
Yes, it is. Sorry. I'm sorry. He has before he goes.